You know, I've always been a fan of the Cuphead game, so I found out they were coming out with a book. This one right here, Cuphead and Carnival Chaos. So I thought, well, I'll check it out. Bought it online, came to me in the mail, and I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it out loud for you guys. Yeah. So this is Cuphead and Carnival Chaos, written by Ron Bates. Let's see here. I'll open it up. Alright, Chapter 1, The Dawn Patrol. And oh, that's cool. Beginning of every chapter has a nice little illustration. Check that out. Very cool. Clang, 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 clang. It's morning, it's morning, it's morning, the alarm clock screeched up and at him. Let's get moving. Rise and shine. The alarm clock sounded even more alarmed than usual, and who could blame him? It was past 7 o'clock, 11 seconds past to be exact. That meant there were only 6,000... Fuck, I fumbled there. 61,189 seconds left in the entire day. And on a day as special as this, every single one of them was too precious to waste. Wake up, wake up, wake up, he bellowed. His voice rumbled across the room and down the stairs, and out over the inkwell aisles, where it made quite an impression on the neighbors. The potato family's eyes popped open, the cornstalks covered their ears, and the cow sisters, who always seemed to have the jitters, poor things, gave milkshakes that day. But Cuphead, he kept right on snoozing. This surprised no one, of course. Cuphead was Cuphead. He preferred to wake up in his own way. Thank you very much. And no amount of clanging or banging or pushing or prodding would change that. The alarm clock sighed. This being a special day and all, he hoped they wouldn't have to go through the whole routine. But oh well, there was no use putting it off. He gripped the shiny brass bell above his head and pulled it down until it fit him like an army helmet. Then he marched to the edge of the night table, raised his minute hand, and with the steely gaze of a general, waved the signal flag. Operation Betty Bye-Bye had begun. As usual, the radio was the first to see the signal. He was tuned in to everything happening around here. Not that he ever got any credit for it, but he'd show them. He'd show them all. This was his chance to prove he was more than just the golden voice broadcaster of the shows like Heebie Jeebie Theater and Wyatt Burp, Rootin' Tootin', Root Beer Mug. He could be inspiring, too, and this was his moment. He took a deep breath, twisted the oversized knob on his brown wooden chassis, and blasted out a barrage of ear-splitting, heart-pounding, troop-rallying marching tunes. Personally, he felt Battlefield Boogie and Jeepers the Jivin' Jeep would be best for marching. After all, they worked for Lindy Hop. Now it was the dresser's turn. She opened her top drawer and the clean berets. A gutsy battalion of fancy French headwear burst out. They leapt from the drawer, pulled their ripcords, and floated to the ground under a canopy of white linen handkerchiefs. There they joined the socks, who were foot soldiers. Oh, it's terrible. The suspenders, who were support units, and the spectacles, who were the lookouts. God damn you. And the gloves, who were just plain handy. And together, they did what had to be done. First, they rolled out a big ball of twine and tugged on it till they'd run a long, long string around the room. All around the room. They ran it around the doorknob, the knickknacks, the lampshade, the curtain rod, a pair of bookends, a polka dot umbrella. When they finished, Sergeant Boxer, a plucky pair of green skivs from the underwear drawer, tied the end of the string to Cuphead's bedpost. The other end, they tied to an electric fan. Now, the alarm clock called to the socks. The Argyle twins, Lefty and Roger, pulled in the fan. As the blades spun faster and faster and faster, the string coiled around them like spaghetti on a fork. Then everything started to move. The doorknob turned, the knickknacks knocked, the lampshade crumpled, the curtain rod rattled, the bookends bumped, the umbrella opened, and finally, Cuphead's bed, which had until that very moment been reliably horizontal, suddenly stood straight up like a buck private on inspection day. It bolted upright with such speed and fury that Cuphead was catapulted out from under his covers, into the air and across the room. But oddly enough, he did not crash, or bash, or splat. He didn't do any of those things. Instead, he landed, quite comfortably, in his pants, shirt, and shoes he'd laid out from the night before. "Ah, good morning, everyone," he yawned. The whole room cheered. Cuphead liked mornings. They were the start of a brand new day, a day when anything could happen. He smiled, saluted his friend the alarm clock, and strutted across the room to a large wall calendar with a picture of an octopus on it. "Yep, this is it," he said, drawing a big red circle around the date. Well, as everyone knows, a big red circle on a calendar means only one thing. This is a special day. And he was about to write something inside that circle that would have explained just how special this day really was, but he couldn't. The octopus had taken his pencil. "Hey, what's the big idea?" Cuphead roared. The octopus winked. A squishy green tentacle popped out of the picture, and he drew a big red X next to Cuphead's big red circle. Cuphead snatched the pencil and drew a second circle next to the big red X. The octopus drew another X. Cuphead drew another circle. And so it went until one of them had 3 in a row, making him the international tic-tac-toe champion of Cuphead's bedroom. There was a brief award ceremony followed by shaking of hands and more hands, because congratulations take a while when one of the players has 8 arms. But finally, they were done, and Cuphead could return to his original task, writing Elder Kettle's birthday in the first red circle on the calendar. Yes, sirree, it was a very special day. Then, as the radio blared out a jumpin' jivin' number by Flim Flam and his troubadours, the swingin'est band in dancin' land, Cuphead bebobbed out of the room and headed down to breakfast. That was the end of Chapter 1. I'll get to Chapter 2 sometime tomorrow, well, the next day. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed Chapter 1. Have a nice day.